morning, this is Trie, and this is Morning Mind Dump. Good morning, my beautiful souls. I actually slept. I've been sleeping 7 hours, for the past 4 years at least. I've been sleeping like 4 hours. And I think this is day 3 that I've slept 7 hours. So of course I had to look up the angel number 7 to find out its significance. So I encourage you to do that if you are into signs. There's a lot of information, a lot of different reasons for that number. But yeah, so good morning and welcome to Morning Mind Dump with me, Trie. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. I remember where there was a time that I didn't have coffee until I was like in my 20s. And I was working at a daycare center. And of course, we were very stressed. And all the girls that I worked with, they were like, you need to try coffee. Like, and I'm like, no, I don't really. Like, I associated coffee with cigarettes because growing up, that's all my grandparents and like my relatives did. So coffee and cigarettes was just like, ick. No, I don't want coffee. But then I changed and I tried it and I liked it. And I'll go spurts where I'll have it every morning, at least 1 cup of coffee. I cannot have more than 1 cup of coffee. Just for the record, if it's a regular caffeinated coffee, I can only have 1 cup because if I have more than that, I'm like a little freak. I get so hyper. But yeah, let's just, I don't know where I keep going on a tangent, but I guess it's just change, right? Is on my mind. And, let's dive in. Change. Change is like the big C word. That sometimes feels like a surprise party, but you didn't RSVP for it. It's one of those things that can make us feel all sort of ways, right? We get excited, we get nervous, we get anxious, and sometimes we just get plain overwhelmed. And there is a secret. And it's called not forcing. Not forcing and not fighting the change that is occurring. So yeah, like I was doing live art on Sunday and set up my table and looked pretty, and I was drawing and not paying attention to my table, and a big giant gust of wind came and blew all my art off the table, and the smaller pieces that were just laying on the table, luckily they were all covered in plastic, but they went flying into the audience, and everybody, like, literally everybody was picking up my art. And I was just laughing. Like, I mean, I was running after my stuff, but I I thought it was funny. But some people might have taken that like, oh my god, like, so stressful, right? No. When you've gone through a shit ton of things, something like that, that's just hilarious, right? There's big changes and little changes, and if you can learn to laugh at the smaller changes, when something bigger happens, you're not just gonna laugh it off, but you might handle it a little bit differently. Like, just like everything, it's all about perspective, and the lessons that we can learn when change happens. Uh, nothing usually goes according to plan. So yeah, and to incorporate that into the neurographic art that I actually do is they're spontaneous squiggles, right? So the line is constantly changing, just like life. And this is what I teach in my workshop is, you'll have unexpected lines. Some will be thicker, thinner. You'll go over them. You go in different directions. It's all part of the movement as a whole. And then when those lines intertwine with each other, it's like a dance, and they kind of work together. And when you're rounding off these sharp edges, you're like solving the problem, solving a problem, like making a solution. And this is what I find fascinating about this type of art. Excuse me, I could try to draw something, and if I couldn't match what I saw, which most people do, they like, if they try to draw something in life and it doesn't look the same, you get upset, right? It's, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't make it look like that. And the beauty of the neurographic art is it's abstract, so yes, it's your own interpretation, but it's subconsciously just flows out of your head, from your head to your hand onto a piece of paper. So how do we embrace change without forcing it or fighting it? Here's a couple of tips from your favorite art life coach, me. All right. First tip is you can stay curious. You know, just like in art, curiosity leads to discovery. And so when change comes, instead of slamming the door, open it with a smile and say, "Hey, what's new, pussycat?" Okay. The second tip is just flow with it, right? Think of change as a river. And if you fight the current, you're going to exhaust yourself. Or you can float along, see where it takes you, and trust me, that is way better because now you're not frantically splashing around. And I can tell you this is one time I was out with my boyfriend, and I was how old was I? 20. I was in my 20s again. Yeah, we went canoeing, and we were paddling along. All of a sudden, we saw some people. Actually, I should keep this for a different episode. But anyway, I'll probably tell you this story again. But anyway, we were paddling along. We're like, oh, the guy I was with, he's like, oh, let's go over here. There's like a little bit of rapids. And I was like, no, my instinct's like, no, that won't be a good idea. There's a tree over the river. And he's like, oh, we can go underneath that. That's not a problem. Now, I was in the front. And I was just like, I am going to be the first one to get hit if we're not able to go underneath this tree. And I was against it, but what could I do? Like, the current was taking us. And so yeah. We could not go underneath the tree. We toppled over, and everything fell out of the boat, including my shoes. And this is just a side note of this. But like, so we changed our direction, and we did actually go with the flow, but something happened that shouldn't. Maybe that was a bad example. Anyway, it's a funny story. But yes, I remember I didn't have any other shoes with me that trip, and we had a couple more days of vacation, and I remember having to go to Walmart with his water shoes. I look like a freaking clown. I have like size 3 feet and in kids, and he had like a 9 or 10 shoe, and I remember this girl was like, "Nice shoes." I was like, "F you." I'm there to buy new shoes. Anyway, we did float along. We did see where that took us. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and it's fine. Now I have an amazing, funny story about canoeing. And, yeah. If we didn't do that, I wouldn't have had this amazing story. That's that was my lesson for the day. No. Um oh yeah. Back to tip 3. I need coffee. Mm. All right, 3. Um Create from the chaos, right? Which I did. Um Use change as a catalyst for creativity, new experiences, new perspectives. They all add layers to your masterpiece. And again, uh, you know, I have I have a funny story. I mean that I can't even talk this morning. I don't know why, and I'm just so silly. I swear I have only had a couple sips of coffee. Um. Anyway, just embrace the messiness. Um. Be open for change. I mean, I got a brand new pair of shoes out of it, so that was a plus. All right. Fourth tip, pause and reflect. Take a breath, take a moment, pause. When change is happening and you are unsure, you know, overthinking things to the point of exhaustion is not going to fix what's going on. And that's not going to change anything because you're still stuck in that moment, right? So if you pause and listen to your intuition more, I have learned that just the past year because I was a complete overthinker to to the point where my friends would be like, "Oh my God, are we still talking about this? Seriously, like why? Just make a decision." And and so now I just don't I don't even share uh my troubles or whatever's going on. I really just leave it to myself because in the end, it's nice to get sometimes it's nice to get input from others, but really like what matters is your own use your own discernment and the changes that you want to make or have to make. Um, so just grab a cup of coffee, go to the beach, do a little drawing, um, and just reflect on the change, big or small, and acknowledge that it's going to be part of your journey and your story. And gratitude turns change from a foe to a friend. And so I say embrace change, learn from it, grow with it. Don't think of it as a negative. Not all changes or challenges are negative. You can find the positivity in things. I mean, I have in every single circumstance of my life, and I'm still smiling. I'm still laughing. I'm not mad at the world for my circumstances, you know. They didn't happen to me. They happened for me, so that I could learn a lesson and be a better person and then teach all of you, right? That's what our society, I believe, is all about. What our world's all about is, you know, learning and teaching and connecting with people. And that's why I've decided that doing art is my purpose, because it allows me to get out there, be with people, connect with people. You know, when I start talking to them and they open up to me and they're vulnerable and they tell me, some people, strangers tell me things that they like, oh, I've never even told, you know, like my best friend this, or, and I'm grateful that I have that ability to allow people to be open with me. But I have also come across people who are scared of being vulnerable, and you know, that's okay. Just have to have a little bit more patience with those people, and I do. And as a Sagittarius, I know that is not really one of my qualities, is being patient, but like I am to a point. I am to a point, and then I'm just like, yeah, okay, it's like beating a dead horse. Can't do it anymore. But anyway, that's for another episode. So there you have it, my lovely listeners. Please do not force or fight the flowing of change. Whether it's a new job, a different routine, just a Monday that feels off. Remember, you've got this. Embrace change. Let change be your partner in this beautiful journey of life. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Morning Mind Dump. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends, and leave a review. Let's keep spreading positive vibes to all. Much love, big hugs. Bye-bye. Hey friends, this is my disclaimer. Everything here is solely my personal opinion and perspective. They are not intended to influence or sway anyone from their own beliefs, ideologies, or convictions. It's important to recognize and respect the diversity of thought and individual viewpoints that exist within our community. I encourage critical thinking and independent judgment when engaging with the content provided. So, any information shared is based on my own understanding and should not be considered as professional advice or guidance. Listener Discretion is advised. Thank you.